Hi, it's Brian Brawdy with a personal invitation for you. If your regular weekly gathering is on lockdown, your weekend ritual on the ropes, this social distancing got you down, well, we're here to hang with you and pick up some of your Sunday morning slack. With all the stress, anxiety, and downright worry swirling around us today, we'll be here to ride it out with you. So first, a quick joke. A rabbi, a minister, a priest, a mullah, a monk, and a shaman, they all walk into a bar. Yeah, it's just like that. No memberships, no collection plates, no hymns, no bowing, no kidding. We're just gathering to remind each other who we genuinely are. So please join us live for a very special All Natural Being Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern, for as long as the current craziness lasts. Mucho salutations. How do you like my little attempt at cultural appropriation? It's time for the flag bearer of human fortitude, your shield for public stupidity, the counterpunch you've been waiting for, the backlash you're counting on. It's Brian. I'm in, and very glad you joined us for today's ride. So what do you say? Let's get ready to mortal up. Welcome, everyone, and I want to do just that. Get ready to mortal up. I hope you're having a fantastic evening wherever you are. You know, we've adjusted the show down to 8 p.m. to accommodate a little bit of strain, if you will, on the web. So we've got that going on, but a lot to get to today. I'm very excited about it. Thank you for the people that reached out in terms of the texts and the emails and everything else. We were talking about the breathing yesterday in the show before. Thank you very much for that. Tomorrow, only because today got a little bit behind for me, but tomorrow we'll be talking about some of the things that I do to make sure that I'm breathing clean air and, you know, that kind of thing. Drinking clean water, all that rolled into one. So we'll have a little bit of that tomorrow. Tonight, we wanted to focus on a couple different things, including... Thank you so very much once again. I don't know. You know, a friend of mine said online, well, your true colors are shining through. And they're just, ever since this guy told me, he said, oh, you're like the Mandalorian for the human mind. I'm all over it, right? Because I love the idea of standing up for the person you were, the people we were, before we forgot who we are. So for me, it's a fantastic honor, an opportunity to be able to say, look, it's time to get back. It's time to go old school. You hear everyone say, oh, it's time to go old school. Well, let's go old school. Sticks and stones may break my bones. Names will never hurt me. You're not going to let the slur of another person challenge you, make you feel differently about who you are. Now, that's not to say you and I can't have a little bit of fun with it, right? As Wayne reminded me, we have our Sunday morning shows for our let's all sit around the campfire and kumbaya. And he goes, but during the week, the Brian Brawdy show, right, it's going to be a little more mix it up. And we're just simply trying to do some things that allow people to protect themselves, in and around the Wuhan virus, COVID-19, the coronavirus, whatever they're calling it now, China virus, whatever they're calling it. So, right, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter to me. As long as it's good with you, I'm good with you. So what I thought we would focus on today is we'll probably, again, sticking with our 20-minute victories, right? Because we don't want to be apart. We don't want to jump on the bandwagon to break the web. I've gotten a notification today, like 5 times a person has gone live already. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of live for me. I think I'm going to pass. That's too much. So we're going to stick with the 20-minute victories, at least through tonight and tomorrow night. And then we're kicking around this idea. And I'd love to get your feedback. Head on over to mortalup.com. Most certainly, we're broadcasting live now to the feeds in the Twitter feed, Facebook, YouTube, and I think pretty soon we're going to be heading on over to LinkedIn as well to be broadcasting live over there. So what I'd like you to do is just head on over, let me know what you think, but we're contemplating going back to the morning shows. I know I was the one that said I'm not much of a morning person, but with all the craziness going on in the world today, I think I'd like to give people the ability to jumpstart their day fully, just right, full frontal bravery, right? And just remembering who they ultimately are and what we can do together as a tag team, right? As each other's cognitive bodyguard to remind the other just how strong we really are when we just peel away the amnesia and we don't forget that we come with a marrow of our minds, the authentic vigor, the buried logic, if you will, to get through no matter what fate throws at us, right? It's not that you ever fail. I said the other day, failure is the greatest fuel, the greatest combustible fuel ever known to humankind. If you fail, if you've hit rock bottom's the perfect place to ricochet, right? I believe, and I'm sure you may or may not, but you're getting close to the point of believing that your back was built for the wall. Oh, the back's up against the wall. Who cares? Oh, I've hit rock bottom. Couldn't care even less, right? When that happens to us, there's our chance to rebound. There's our chance, as I said, to ricochet. There's our chance to make sure that we bring our A game. And one of the ways to do that, I think, and I have a lot of fun with this. Now, some of my friends just go, oh, why do you always have to focus on the negative? Have you met me? No, wait. I just enjoy it. So Wayne put together this little thing for me. Let's get to the lowlifes making headlines. And all joking aside, the reason we continue to highlight the lowlifes making headlines is that some of the people have asked me to stop saying asshat, right? And took his temperaments, that just wasn't cutting it as a soundbite. So we're no longer supposed to say asshats, right, in an attempt to be nice to everyone. So we're just going to call them lowlifes making headlines. Now, these are the people that do things that just really put our future in jeopardy, at least in my opinion, and some of the people that follow me. These lowlifes making headlines are most certainly putting my kids and my grandkids, my family, your family, nieces and nephews, I'm sure they're putting their futures in jeopardy. So we like to call out the lowlifes making headlines just to give you an idea of what's being done when you're busy on lockdown, you're busy homeschooling, you're busy enjoying your family, you're busy making a sprint to the grocery store and trying to hold your breath while you run in and get a six-pack of Diet Pepsi and some Funyuns, right? So I wanted to be able to do lowlifes making headlines. Now, so let me just get to this, and then I'll show you what Wayne sent me just a little bit ago. You're going to love this, but this is something that, well, let's get to it. Let's play lowlifes making headlines. Lowlifes making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. All right, so here's the thing. Before we jump right into what Wayne made, and it was brilliant, let me just tell you, I'm not that, I don't know this internet savvy stuff. I was saying to Ashley last night that when you see some of the comedy, when you see some of the things that are written on the internet, people are really smart. You're really funny. You're really smart. And I thought, with all the brainiacs that are here on Facebook and YouTube and over at Twitter and LinkedIn, some of the comedy, some of the things that I've seen of late, we ought to have them cure whatever's going on with the Wuhan virus, right? These people are just brilliant and very, very funny kind of stuff. So I've just been enjoying it. But one of the other things that I want to make mention of, and we'll do this real quickly, is that, you can go over to mortalup.com, MORTALUP, mortalup.com, and you can nominate your lowlifes making headlines, those brittle brains atop balsa wood spines that just make your blood boil, right? You could do that. Or you can also head over to mortalup.com and nominate that person that's the most, how can I put it? That person who exemplifies what it's like to have your back against the wall. So here's what I want to do. I want to just show you this, see if I can do this, right? I'm kind of doing this on the fly, but let me see if this is something that I can do without bringing the whole house crashing down around me. But what Wayne has developed is the ability, I'll see if I'll do this, and this will let me know if I never should try to do some of my own production live during the show. But let's do this. Let's see if we pull it up, and if it hasn't caused the wheels to fall off, let me see if I can go over like this. I know Wayne will be watching. So let me go like this. Let me just pull this over here. So here's what we're going to do. Here's our commitment to everybody. We've created a document, and that document is the lowlifes making headlines, right? Picture of some vultures that I took eyeing my windshield wiper blades a few years back in Tampa, Florida. You'd get away, walk away from your car, they'd swoop down and eat your right? They needed rubber in their diet, I guess. They'd eat the rubber right off the trim around your windshield. But in any event, these vultures, I thought it was a great picture. Here's what we're going to do. When you go to nominate a lowlife making headlines, Monday through Friday, we're going to use this list. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to put the person's name, and then I'm going to find a mailbox that I can get to before the police try to tackle me. I'm going to find a mailbox, and I'm going to mail this person, right? Find out where, where their office is, where they are, this, that. And I'm going to mail them their very own, a very nice printing. It's a PDF. The artwork is etched perfectly. Well, we're going to email them a lowlifes making headlines with the loser and winner, tomato, tomato, how you look at it. But we'll put their name right in there, and then we're going to send it to them. Now, if there's any attorneys watching, right, and given some of the times here on the internet, I'm sure everyone's an attorney, but if there's an attorney watching, just right, if you think, well, Brian, I don't know if I would send that to anybody in the mail. Yeah, well, we're not all that smart here. So we'd still love your input as to how this is going to go for us, how this is going to work out. But this is the document, the Lowlifes Making Headlines document that we're going to use to send out to folks to go, yeah, we're on to your games. We know what you're up to. And that's going to be it. So now you're saying, well, Bri, how do I do that? Well, here we are. This little video Wayne put together to show you. So you go in, and I'm assuming this is called what? You go into your favorite browser, your web browser. You type in mortalup.com. Oh, it takes you to the Brian Brawdy Show page, the Mortal Up page. Now you're going to scroll down a little bit. You see right there, just to the right of Mortal Up is Lowlifes Making Headlines. You click Lowlifes Making Headlines. You scroll down a little bit, and you fill out the form. So let's see. What is what? Oh, John, very good. Doe. I'm sure John or Jane Doe, whatever it is that you're working on. You put in your email address. Now, here's my word to you. We're never going to sell it. We're never going to lease it. We're never going to come up with coupon codes to give you. None of that. Your email gets trashed as soon as you make your nomination. And, let's see, who's today's Lowlife Making Headlines? Brian Brawdy. Well, let me tell you, more times than you would care to think about, right? Put in your nomination for the Lowlife Making Headlines. Put in your nomination. Let us know. And then here's another thing you should know. We will never tell anyone that yours is the name we picked. We won't even ever tell anybody that you're right. You got to prove you're not a robot, but we're never going to tell anyone that you even submitted this form. So then you go ahead, then you'll get a little notice saying, hey, thanks for submitting your form. And that's how we'll be able to clue in on who the Lowlife Making Headlines for that day is. We get a preponderance of votes. Right? And I'm telling you, it's like playing whack-a-mole. I know. I'd say shooting fish in a barrel, but people are going to go, did you really call on people to shoot the Lowlifes Making Headlines? Right, that's what I did. Right? No. So forget I even said shooting fish in a barrel. It's like playing whack-a-mole, right? It's like playing a piñata, but you got a couple big sticks and they didn't blindfold you, right? It's just too easy to win this award. But that's how you can nominate folks to make sure that they get their really good looking. And look, if I forgot to mention, let me say suitable for framing, right? They'll get to, and you should also know that we're working on one for Mortal Up as well, because in fairness, we just don't want the Lowlifes Making Headlines to get an award, the really good one, and we're working on decals and a logo, and the winner of the Mortal Up will receive a T-shirt. We've got some cool things that we're really going when it comes to Mortal Up for the person that's nominated, that you all nominate and we put in. So, because we think in uncertain times, let's just say, it's important to highlight those situations where people are going above and beyond the call, right? People are taking a Herculean effort to stand and square the shoulders with fate in defense of another person. And I just think that's absolutely brilliant and absolutely shows you how great humanity is, right? And now, I don't know if you remember this story, but a way ago I told you that I went to open a door for a young lady, and she just stood there, looked at me, and she said, well, I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, a woman can get her own door. So I scooted right in and pulled the door and made her get her own door. But now I'll tell you, when you go out, everyone loves the idea of you getting a door because they're like, I don't want to touch that door. Forget that. I'm not going to do that. So Mortal Up is just to let us be reminded that there are people out there that are really cool, doing great jobs in making sure that we're all safe. Also, I wanted to talk about this morning, we had a quick post up there, and maybe for a couple minutes we can talk about that. We're going to talk about what's the cure for loneliness. It's been my position that loneliness is a byproduct of your own soul missing the heartfelt conversation with your own heart, right? Missing that sense of connection, that sense of not being fragmented. You know, like on a computer, you can go in and hit a defragment order. You're typing away, oh, defragment, and it pulls your hard drive back so that it's operating, firing on all cylinders. Well, it's the same thing with people that are lonely. And in case you didn't know, in case it's been a while that we've talked about it, I started 35 plus years ago with my father's suicide. And I've done everything I could. I've studied. I've investigated. I was talking to a good friend of mine who was my investigator sergeant. He was in charge. And he did a hell of a job too. Let me tell you, he was in charge of me when I was there and through the times of dealing with my father's suicide. But I learned those same investigative skills, and they've served me well for the past 35 years. A human mind goes through a stage of philosophical long before they go through the biological suicide. Philosophically, they've turned a blind eye. They've turned a deaf ear. They've turned their own back on themselves. So that when that voice calls and says, why don't you jump? You're like, why not? It's not, at least he seems passionate about it. So in order to cultivate that passion, in order to cultivate that relationship with your own soul, in order to cultivate that heartfelt conversation between different parts of your cognition, that's what it means to mortal up. And as I said last evening, I think there's absolutely, you have the right to be to be narcissistic. You have the right to be self-centered from time to time. You have the right to turn your attention inward, and don't let anyone steal that from you. And don't want everyone to say, well, you're being selfish. Yeah, great. We're not suggesting that we run around 24 hours a day not worrying about other people. But for a 20-minute chunk, as we talk about the 20-minute victories, why can't? For just 20 minutes of the day, for goodness sakes. Now, if you get to break them up the way I do, I start off every morning, just to give you an idea. It's going to be no different if we switch to doing a radio show for people to follow along on the radio when they're driving into work or however they're going, however they want to get a hold of that. I do the same thing every morning. I get up, I take the names of family and friends and people that the names have come to me, and I take it to the sunrise. My little way of remembering a person, make sure that they don't go home alone. And in thinking back, someone asked me today if I would share that prayer, and I'll do that. How about we do that tomorrow since we're running out of time? But I do that every morning. Then I come in and I send a happy birthday, the Beatles' happy birthday song, to everybody that's a friend of mine on Facebook. I'd send it out to more people, but I don't have that many friends. But I make sure that everyone that's a friend of mine gets the opportunity to hear the Beatles sing happy birthday to them, right? So that's a part of my 20-minute victory. And then when that work is done, I go right in to the breathing that we've been talking about all along, because it's great for your immune system, physical immune system. Well, let me put it this way. It's great for your philosophical immune system and your physiological immune system. Great for your body and your brain. So I go right into it, right? And that's the way, that's the coat of armor that I put on. That's the mail. That's the metal mesh that I put on. And then when I'm done with all of that and mustered all the compassion that I can for the different people that, that we're talking about and we're thinking of, I do all that. Then I go over to Twitter and hang out and get ready to play whack-a-mole. So all I'm suggesting is you have the right to do that as well. You're every bit capable of doing it as I am. Start your day off. Most certainly end your day. I have to tell you, I woke up this morning at 2 o'clock. I heard a noise. Woke up at 2 o'clock. Rolled over, went back to sleep, and continued to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you is the mantra that you and I have talked about. So in demystifying meditation, it doesn't have to be anything more than that. Prepare yourself. Give yourself that 20 minutes in the morning. Give yourself a 20-minute victory midday if you can. Give yourself a 20-minute victory in the evening, and then you're prepared to do battle. As we talk about all the time, battling the infectious disease. Yeah, COVID's busy running around, coronavirus, Wuhan virus, for all the people that will be offended by the term Wuhan. That virus is running around, but there's another virus running around, and that's the damn near just as infectious, if not more so, the disease of brittle brains atop balsa wood spines. And we need to be able to do what we can to stand against that train of thought that a human being is somehow watered down, because you're most certainly not. We don't get watered down unless we give them our permission to water us down. So for me, when you start off with your 20-minute victories, you just guarantee your sense of being prepared to face all the mashugana, to face all the craziness, to face everything going on in the world. And your fallback position, you might know, if you've ever been in the military and law enforcement, the difference between cover and concealment. Concealment means bad guy can't see you. Bad girl, sorry, didn't mean to be sexist. I didn't want to mansplain. Cover means they can't see you, but a projectile could still go through that concealment, right? You're concealed from their eyes. Now, what cover means is that it's the side of a building, it's a brick, it's a tree, it's whatever. It will actually block an incoming round. So doing your 20-minute Victor in the morning gives you both cover and concealment, right? The best of both worlds, because you're like, wow, this is fantastic. I really don't have to suffer the slings and arrows of other people. I really don't have to put up with their mashugana. I don't have to do any of that because I remember who I ultimately am, and that person is untouchable, as you know I believe you to be. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I thank you again to Wayne for the excellent, I'll throw it up one more time, the Low Lifes Making Headlines Award Certificate that'll be sent out. Their name will be right on it. So, little Jimmy accosted. His name could go right on this form. You don't know who it is. I don't know until, the home office does all the tallying and everything else. But that's how you get to vote. Head on over to mortalup.com. As the video said, scroll down. You'll see the Low Life's Making Headlines banner. Click on that. Fill out the form. Send it in. No one will ever know that you and I spoke about it. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you all again. Please be safe. Don't share your spork with anyone. Don't run around on a street corner sipping on a straw and then passing it to a stranger. Let's just not do that, at least for now, right? And remember to always, always, always look up, stand up, bring your own bold and mortal up. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow night. We'll be right back here. Friday night. Boy, that's a shenanigans getting ready to happen. We will see you tomorrow night. Thank you all so very much. Be safe. Like I said, we'll bump into you then.